Hello, welcome. My name is Cindy Nival, and I am the Region 7 ESC TEKS Resource System Specialist. Today we'll be looking at some of our customer favorites from the resources available within the TEKS resource system. To begin, we're going to drill down to Science to take a look at the performance assessments that are available. Please note that there are performance assessments available for every grade level and every content within TEKS resource system. These performance assessments are real-world learning and application opportunities that you can use within your classroom to see how students can apply the knowledge that you've given them in real-world applications. I'm going to begin by going into the 5th grade science IFD for Unit 1. We will be looking at this first performance assessment regarding classifying matter. I can see in this chart that this performance assessment is tied to systems, classification, and property concepts within my curriculum. Additionally, it will address unit understandings of how is matter measurable when looking at its physical properties, as well as how can matter be classified, changed, and used. Additionally, we will answer these key questions as we work through this performance assessment. In what ways do physical properties determine how matter is classified? How does it determine how matter is changed? And how does it determine how matter is used? So with this performance assessment, we will address all of those things. Please know that a performance assessment, while the term assessment is within the title, it is really more of a task. This is a task that students do throughout the unit of study to show you that they're able to apply the learning you've given them. If you would like to see just the performance assessment, you can click on that hyperlink and it will take you to a one-pager in which you can read the steps of the performance assessment. Here we see that this performance assessment is that a Children's Science Discovery Center has asked the student to assist with creating a mystery exploration activity where children classify objects by physical properties. Those terms sure sound familiar. That's what we saw in our content and our unit understandings. Just a little aside to show you how all of this pulls together. It goes on to say that you must collect and provide objects, images, and examples that meet the following criteria with the list provided. They will need to provide scientific equipment that will be used with this exploration, and then additionally they will need to select one object and write and describe all of its physical properties according to the criteria listed. So not only will they have to think through the scientific process, but they will also have to do it on their own. So that is an example of a performance assessment. Additionally, with your TEKS resource system user contract, you also have access to our pacing tools. The pacing tools actually take these performance assessments and break them down into day-by-day instructional models that can help guide you as you make instructional decisions for your unit planning. So here we have that same performance assessment that we just read through, and we see here that it is suggested that 14 days are used on this performance assessment. So what would that look like? If we scroll down, we see that we have our pacing broken into days 1 to 3, 4 to 6, and so forth and so on. For each date, I have a learning objective. I have the standard that it's tied to, as well as my process standards, the vocabulary related to the education that's being delivered that day, as well as a suggested formative assessment. So here for this day, we see that they're going to be looking at physical properties and making a list, or even an anchor chart would be great to put up on the wall for students to reference throughout the unit of study. They're then going to compare sets of items to see how they may categorize them. And by the end of the day, students will, with a partner, discuss how are all metals magnetic. So that would mean that in my instruction, I would need to have metals as part of the things that they separate out. So you can see how these pacing tools are excellent ways to look at how I could pace out my instruction, the types of examples I could give in my models and my mini lesson, and are a great place to start as I begin my unit planning. Additionally, within the TEKS Resource System website, there are formative items that fit beautifully within these pacing tools to check for student learning throughout the unit of study. To get there, we'll go back to TEKS Resource System, we'll go to TEKS Resource System Components, and choose Assessment Center. Once there, we're going to create an assessment. Rename this title to what is applicable to you, and I'm going to call this FA for Formative Assessments. I'll choose 5th grade, I'll choose Science, and then I'm going to come up to Add Assessment Item, and I will select Search. If you're following along with me, please do the same or record these steps for use later. Once this blue pop-out menu comes up, I'm going to want to select the item type of formative items. Please note there are also unit assessment items within this assessment center, and that these are new, fresh items that mimic the STAR test but are not taken from the STAR test. What a great bank of items to assess student achievement within a unit. We're going to, though, still focus on our formative items, so I'll select formative item. I will come down to units, and I am looking at the Unit 1 5th grade science, so I'll select Unit 1, and I'm going to click Search. Once here, I'm going to be very tempted to scroll through and look at the items in this format. However, let's click this Select All That Match Search Criteria, as it will pull it into our editor in a much easier to read and approachable form. I see I have 9 items available when I click that button. And so to see those 9 items in a very user-friendly format, I'll come up to View Assessment, and here I am back in my Assessment Creator and Editor. As I scroll down, I see my standards labeled and color-coded for my convenience, and I see the individual formative items that are available to me to insert within my instruction where I see applicable to assess student learning throughout the unit. For example, that first day, we were looking at the question at the end of the day, are metals magnetic? And here I see number 2 formative assessment item says, use a magnet to find at least 5 classroom objects that are magnetic. Make a T-chart to show which objects you tested were magnetic and which were not. Would that be helpful in assisting students in understanding if metals are magnetic or not? I think perhaps so. Do you also notice that this could also be an activity within the class, an interaction within the class, so that students can actually experience this learning in order to be able to answer those questions at the end of the day of instruction? If there's an item on here that you don't like, just simply delete it and it will go away from your list. My suggestion is that you save these. They will now be saved to your account forever, and that you print them. These can then be inserted into lesson plans wherever you see applicable. They can be copied and pasted into Google Classroom. They can even be sent home as experiences for parents to have with their students as they learn. I want to thank you again for using TEKS Resource System. If there is ever anything that myself or Carmen can do for you in supporting you in the use of this system, please never hesitate to reach out and get in touch with us. We are happy to support you in your district in meeting your instructional goals. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.